You're listening to Weird Medicine with Dr. Steve on the Riotcast Network, riotcast.com.
I need some suction. Give me carotid.
I've got diphtheria crushing my esophagus. I've got Ebola vibes dripping from my nose. I've got the leprosy of the heart valve, exacerbating my incredible woes. I want to take my brain out and blast it with the wave, an ultrasonic, echographic, and a pulsating shave. I want a magic pill for all my ailments, the health equivalent of Citizen Kane. And if I don't get it now in the tablet, I think I'm doomed and I'll have to go insane. I want a requiem for my disease, so I'm paging Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve!
It's Weird Medicine, the first and still only uncensored medical show in the history of broadcast radio, now a podcast. I'm Dr. Steve, and this is a show for people who've never listened to a medical show on the radio or the internet. But today we're going to do something a little different. It's the holidays, and we had our friend Dave Cecil from the Dave Cecil Band at daveraycecil.com in the studio today. It's a music show. We're going to talk about music, meditation, internal healing, all that stuff. So, but I want you guys to check him out because Dave should be famous, and sadly, as of yet, he's not. But you'll also find out that he doesn't care. If he were famous, he'd be doing the same music that he's doing now. So it's a very interesting conversation, and I hope you enjoy it. Oh, hey, don't forget, stuff.drsteve.com for all your holiday shopping needs. Stuff.drsteve.com makes a huge difference. Thank you. Tweakedaudio.com if you want some stocking stuffers. Offer code FLUID for 33% off the best earbuds on the market for the price. Don't forget Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net. And check out premium.drsteve.com. We're going to have a code for 50% off coming up soon, but you can sign up anytime. It's just $1.99 a month. Okay, enjoy the interview with Dave Cecil, and we'll see you next week. All right, so in the studio today, a special treat. We have Dave Ray Cecil. Thanks for being here, Dave.
Thank you so much for having me with, all the storms and stuff.
Yeah, we've had to cancel this. Well, first you were sick.
Yeah.
And then,
definitely sick.
And then today, it was supposed to snow 6 inches. And so I saved some money on a hotel room because you're going to leave after the gig tonight. But exactly. I appreciate that. But I hate that your wife and kid didn't get to come up and have like a vacation.
Well, it's all right.
Okay, well, so a little introduction. We first met Dave when he was playing a gig at a place called Primland, and I was sure because this was like the first time we'd ever been there, and Diane, you've been there. This place is pretty fancy. It's a beautiful place, and I assumed you were famous already. I mean, that's why they had you there, is because you were famous. And then we got talking. And it turns out that you play in a band with a guy I used to play in a band with, who I knew as Arnold Sykes. That was his name, was Arnold Sykes. And then he's got to be, 60 now, right?
Yes, he is.
Well, he changed his name, and he's now known as Wiley.
Well, I think he's known to some people as Wiley. I think it's Wiley Arnold Sykes. So or Arnold Wiley.
Wiley.
Something like that.
So one of my favorite memories of Arnold was I did a gig at this little church in downtown Greensboro, and it was an experimental thing. We did one set of really experimental music, and then we did a set of my music, and in between I did a magic show. It was the craziest fucking thing. Craziest gig you've ever seen.
Sounds cool.
and I put on this fake accent and stuff, but I did this trick, which is right in there, which I'll show it to you in a minute if you're interested in seeing it, called the Tricky Bottles. And I did it with Arnold, a.k.a. Wiley. And it's one of those things where you make a fool of the person that you call up from the audience, right? Because there's a tube and a beer bottle, and no matter what they do, they always get the beer bottle wrong. Like it'll be upside down to mine. And it was just fun. And that was really the last time I've seen him.
Now, what was he doing? Was he playing?
Nope. He was just hanging out. and came to see us. And I remember afterward, he came up after my part of the, where I played my music. He said, better than Mozart. So that was a huge compliment coming from him, because he's actually like a music major. He's like the real deal.
Yeah, he really is, and he's got he's got a schedule that's unbelievable. He does all the symphony work and stuff for.
Oh yeah,
I think Winston-Salem and Greensboro.
Wow.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, if I put together a gig or something, and I say, "Hey, man, can you do it?" He without even looking, "Oh, I'll do it." Like, you don't even, man.
Yeah.
He's like the busiest dude, and
he loves to play.
Oh my God, he'll card it. So what he'll say, look, man, I'll come over and I'll set these up, and then I'll go back and I'll play this other gig, and then I'll come back and I'll have it set up on, Well, and he does it.
You're our guest, and we're talking about somebody else, but it is funny because that we had that connection.
Yeah.
And but so speaking of being trained, are you trained? In music,
what?
were you like a music major in school or anything like that? No, really?
No. I mean, I was telling Scott here, I was telling him that I had a piano in the house, which I think is great. I bought a piano. I got a little girl, so I think that she should have some sort of something in the house. So I knew I could figure out, sit in front of the piano, that I could, put these notes together. So I could come up with these little melodies and write these songs and stuff. So they were like, well, he's got a little interest in music. Let's get him some lessons. And I couldn't stand going over to Lady's house, man.
No.
You go in there and it smelled like mothballs. And she was older, and there was the clock, and the whole deal. Anyway,
it's actually called a metronome, but I know what you're talking about.
No, exactly. No, but she it didn't work out. I didn't really think I had to know what I was doing, and they were telling me I had to know, and so so it didn't work out. So.
Let me tell you my first piano lesson experience. I got the book. My mom got me the book ahead of time, and there was a song in there called CDE, right?
Yeah.
And you go CDE, 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 D, C, D, C, right? Mm-hmm. So I learned it before I went to my lesson. And I was really proud of myself. It was like, I've taught myself how to read 3 notes on the treble clef, and I thought she would really be excited. And I walk in, I say, hey, just so you know, in my 7-year-old voice, I kind of already learned this song, and I play. And she said, well, play it for me. And I played it for her. She said, no, you're playing it all wrong. And I was like, you know what?
There you go.
Nice. Well, how would you play that wrong?
What a way! Who knows? But what a way to just shit on a little kid and make him hate doing that.
Because you were excited.
Yeah.
Until then.
But anyway, so
So what ended up happening to me is I didn't take lessons, and I snuck me a guitar, and I learned to play guitar by myself, and I just wanted to write, and so I ended up doing that for like 10 to 12 years.
Wow.
And behind the closed doors, I just used it as a way to kind of escape from the world.
Yeah.
And I had my thing, and I didn't need to do anything with it. I'd go out into the world and come back, and it was really interesting because even now, I'm always dealing with some sort of situation that's going on in a song.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm writing songs that like when I was coming here, I was writing bass lines, and I had, things going on in these songs, so that's what's happening, for me all the time. It's an interesting experience. Now, I was at this wedding. My wife is really, she's aware of my problem. And I was at this wedding.
Wait, which problem is that?
Not many. I've got many, but I'm talking about the songwriting.
Songwriting
problem. And I was out in the field. I got these. I've got on my phone. I got like 1,500, song bites. These ideas I put down real quick, and I listen to them. When I'm in the middle of writing something. And so I was out in the field there. I just want to step away from all the busyness, man. And I'm out in the field listening to this thing, and somebody said to my wife, "Man, who's Dave? Who's Dave talking to?" And she looked out there and she said, "No, man, he's not talking to anybody." Writing a damn song.
Yeah, it's living with an artist can be difficult.
Yeah, I would imagine. No,
yeah.
She's like, when I'm writing a song, she's like, I just need to get out of your way because you're just like obsessed.
Could you do anything else? Could you imagine doing anything else?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting question because I don't feel like it's something that I do. I just feel like it's something, and I'm not trying to be kooky or anything, but it sounds hokey, but it's something that I am. I wouldn't choose this shit. No way, man. I mean, I wouldn't choose doing it. something that I quit. I tried to quit, man, 3 times. The third time I was really done, and then it just won't stop. So you just got to do it. It's sort of like, I mean, it's like any other relationship. You sometimes it's euphoric and lovely and fun, and then other times like, God, get this off of me, man.
The whole being an artist thing. I had a patient who became a friend, so I can talk about him. And he was about 20 years older than me, and he was the greatest portrait artist I've ever met. I have a portrait downstairs that he did of me. I can tell you the story about it, but make a long story short, this guy was a brilliant portrait artist, and he would capture people. You see portraits, and you can tell it's a little off. That uncanny valley where it's just not quite right. This guy nailed it every single time, and I got talking to him about it. He hated it. But he was so good at it, he could not stop doing it. Yeah. It would have been not only a waste to stop, but he was compelled to do it because, like you said, that's what he is.
Yeah.
He didn't like dealing with all these people and how they kept changing their minds. He hated that part of it. Yeah. But he had to put these images on.
What is that pull? I have no idea what that is.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a pull to to create. I don't know. But you can't. You can wrestle with it and try to put it to sleep and get rid of it all you want. But in the end, for me, I lost, and so I'm just like, hey, man, that's cool. Well,
if you're called to do something, if you deny it, the next thing that happens is you get swallowed up by a fish. A.K.A. Jonah. I'm making a biblical reference.
Well, it's true, and the thing is, too, is like I was playing the other night at the pizza joint, and they're like, man, what the hell are you doing at the pizza joint? And I'm like, well, this is supposed to be where I'm playing tonight.
Something happened that night, though.
Yeah, something did happen.
Tell us about that, and then I want to get you playing some music.
Well, there was a girl that's, sitting in the front row, and... she was sitting in the booth that was closest to the stage at the pizza joint.
Don't make it into something.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, she came up afterwards, and she had tears in her eyes, and she was like, man, thank you so much for this. Your words somehow has helped me, and I feel, healed in some way, And she did say this. She said, I've always been somebody, I'm going through a lot of stuff, and I've always been somebody's wife or somebody's mom. And I said, well, who are you without these things? And she said, well, I don't know. And I'm like, well, maybe I ought to have a look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the tie-in. So you healed her, and this is a medical show. So there you go. That's the tie-in with this show. But the song that, and I'm sure you played this that night, that you won that national songwriting contest or were a finalist in, is called "Nothing to Waste."
Yeah.
And tell us just a little bit about where that came from. Your songs are all so personal.
All right, I'll tell you where it came from.
Yeah.
I was busy doing another job. Okay, and I was doing a real estate, my wife's got this real estate client, and I'm driving them around, I'm showing them houses. In between showing them houses in the car, I wrote the song. So these people were following me, and I'm like, look, I'm trying to look at the, the GPS and address, but I'm also writing this thing down. And so for me, I feel like, so it was just another song, sort of. But for me, I was sort of out of the way, so none of my filters were involved in writing the damn thing. So I think it was better without me involved.
That Zen thing where you got your brain out of the way and it just happened.
Yeah, and the thing
we got to talk about that after.
Yeah. Most songs, most of the time anyway, is if I'm in the way or I get involved with trying to guide the song to go a certain way, or I'd like to, I better not say that shit, or then everything sort of shuts down, and I can't.
It's fascinating.
Right. So I just got to say, you know what? It sort of knows what it wants to be, and I'm just going. And my life is like that too, dude.
Dr. Scott's an athlete. He was a semi-pro athlete. His brother's a real athlete. That same thing applies to athleticism too, doesn't it?
Absolutely. When you're in the zone. When you're in the zone.
Yeah, you got to get, if you start thinking, well, I've got to pitch a certain way.
Yep. Your mind gets in the way.
You're going to throw a ball every time, but when your brain gets out of the way,
you can do
it just
things.
happens.
It's
amazing that athleticism and music, painting, these things all kind of work the same way.
Very similar.
There's some link there, and I haven't quite figured it out. But
Those barriers we create, that if you can somehow realize that the barriers are things you've created, then you can just move on through them.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's it. And what you're suggesting is that it's beyond the intellect.
Right. It is.
So it's like, and the intellect is where you are.
Mm-hmm.
So the more that you like lean not on thine own understanding.
you wouldn't
That's where
think
that shit comes
you would
from.
think writing a song would be as diametrically opposed to pitching a baseball as it could be, but there's a link there.
Oh yeah, very similar.
It's interesting. We'll explore that. Let's hear this song. Are you cool?
Yeah,
Playing it?
that's cool.
Okay, this is Dave Cecil, and the song is called "Nothing to Waste."
When I was young, thought I could see, thought that the world revolved around me, thought I could take whatever I wanted for free. But I'm older now, and time's brought me down, revealing my soul and retiring the clown, letting me know there ain't only one show around. There were times that I should have given, places I shouldn't have been. There were things I would take back, rules I would break that held me like a prisoner within. But I am no longer afraid. Yeah, I'd rather give here than take. I'd rather laugh like a child for no sake, and love like there ain't no mistakes. Live now before it's too late. Life ain't nothing to waste. Might be things that I won't do again, but your losses somehow become wins. And there ain't any reason to spend any season thinking about what might have been. Yeah, I am no longer afraid, and I'd rather give here than take. I'd rather laugh like a child for no sake, and love like there ain't no mistakes. Live now before it's too late. Life ain't nothing to waste.
Wow, beautiful.
I follow on Pinterest all these inspirational quotes, and I could hear a lot of what you said, which would be perfect for those. Like people posters and
Memes.
yeah,
Whole song full of
just it's a whole song.
Good job, man.
So inspirational.
Good stuff.
One thing I wanted to bring up, when you said when you were young, I thought I could see, thought that the world revolved around me. This is not a song that someone with a bad childhood would have necessarily written, because people who had bad childhoods don't see the world that way, I don't think. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing.
Well, everybody's childhood is relevant as far as bad or good. The thing is like you ask somebody that everybody, it's all different. But my dad left when I was 9. So
well,
we had that stir going on.
yeah.
But is really. But if you move towards wellness, and you try to, we all are compelled to want to be the best we are, and for me, what that involves is looking inward, in some way, how it's like for me, life was happening for me, right, like. And you sort of wake up in these things like, how the hell did I get here?
Yeah.
But the thing is that you're making choices all along the way in order to get you where you are. So, in other words, when you start looking in, you're like, wait a second, man, I chose all this shit. You know what I mean?
Right on.
That's when stuff starts to change, and when you start to really, really start to look inward, and then you see that everything really unfolded the way it should have. So. As far as my childhood, I feel like I had a good childhood.
Yeah.
But,
Now this line, it says, rules I would break that held me like a prisoner within. That's about working with Arnold Sykes, isn't it?
I mean,
I'm just hope he's listening. That's all. All right. No, that was awesome, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was a great song.
So the reason we're doing this on this show, and we need to, Diane and Scott may not be aware of this, but you and I have been talking for a while, and you sent me your CD, and we can plug that too if you want. And obviously we should. I forwarded that to the guy that runs the SiriusXMU channel. Now, I don't think your music is right for that channel, but he knows all the other people that run the folk channel and what's the Coffee House?
Coffee House, yeah.
And what's the one where they play both? They play sort of alt and
the blend.
Spectrum.
Spectrum's
my favorite.
Yeah.
So he knew all those, and nothing. So then you were up in New York City to play that song that you just played for us at Kennedy Center, right?
Yeah. Lincoln Center.
Okay, well, it was some present. I knew it was some present at the Lincoln Center. And I called them and I said, look, this guy's going to be up there. Bring him into the fishbowl and have him play. Do something. Nothing. So I finally said, fuck it. We'll just do it on my show.
Well, it's not surprising we were just talking downstairs in the kitchen about this very thing, and as far as like
what a business.
Why would it be on a medicine show?
Yeah.
But the funny thing is there are some things like you just pointed out that have to do with that. Wellness and well-being and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, but my interest is, why is the music business so just, it's almost like a lottery. Yeah. If the right person hears you, you're Brent Dennen, Yeah. And I'm sure you know who Brent Dennen is. Yeah. I love him. Yeah, if that right person doesn't hear you, you're Dave Cecil playing at a pizza place. And that's no flies on that. But I think you should be huge.
Flies on it.
Yeah. I really do. So
I may interject this.
Well, I think Scott and I should be huge too. But there you go.
Different,
yeah.
Exactly. But there's an old saying in baseball that it only takes one scout to like you, and they'll take you to the top. It just takes one person to hear the songs or to meet Dave and get the word. But I think what Diane said was really pretty important for this particular audience, because we do deal with people's overall health and well-being in a multitude of ways, and I've always said a good medicine is whatever that person needs at that time. It may be
the right song.
It may be a song. It may be a cranny. It may be a hug.
Handy.
It may be a handy. It may be whatever. So whatever it is. So
good blowjob.
Hey.
Yeah.
You never know. So
I care if you're famous. Do you care? Do you care? I mean, are you cool doing this? Is there anything that you need that you're not getting by not, playing arenas and stuff like that? I guess folk people don't really play arenas.
I mean, I did an interview this week here. Somebody contacted me for O. Henry magazine, and we did an interview, and he asked me that very thing, and I said, well, the thing is I'm going to be doing it whether or not I'm doing it here or I'm doing it in my bedroom or I'm doing it for arenas. So I can't tell you that I don't hang too much, a value on results, about where I'm not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense, really. So if it does happen, I'll follow it. Obviously, I will follow it, but we'll see what happens. But I'll still keep writing. I mean.
Yeah,
I'm still doing the
it
same.
It isn't
thing
what you do; it's who you are, and therefore you're going to be who you are.
That's it.
Yeah, I got it.
I mean, that's like it's living.
Now that you say it, it makes total sense. Up until then, I'm writing these questions down about why aren't you famous?
Yeah, may I interject one more real quick story. One of our best friends, Milhorn, was telling me about Paul Thorne, and Paul Thorne.
Sure.
You know how Paul Thorne hit it big? He was playing in a pizza joint or on like Thursday nights down in Mississippi, and a guy heard about him, came and watched him play on a Thursday night, and that Saturday he was in London opening out for Eric Clapton. It was just literally.
You'd think playing the Lincoln Center, something like that would happen. It's frustrating to me on your behalf, and what's cool is you don't feel that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if something happened from the Lincoln Center, I wouldn't be sitting in here talking to you cats.
There you go.
Oh, that would be sad.
I mean,
That's true.
But I will say
He'd
this:
be too big for us.
He's got the perfect Zen attitude towards playing this thing, and that's why I think that's why it's so good and comfortable. In this space, even with us old hillbillies,
Speaking of Zen attitude toward playing, you want to play another song?
Yeah, let's do it.
You've got the choice of When I Die or Maybe. Or Belong or When You Go. I'd like
when we play the Belong.
You want to play Belong?
Yeah, I'll play
Okay.
Belong.
All right. Sounds good. What's this about?
The interesting thing about Belong is that Belong is like, it can be just like a cool, it's a catchy song. But, it talks all about, what you can do in order to be sort of a noble person, like a good person. But the end of the song is really what it's about.
Okay.
So it takes you through this, do all these things to be this person, let go of all this stuff and you'll move towards, being a better person, right? But you're still sort of caught in sort of a segregated state. And so it's saying, again, like we were talking about, that there might be something beyond that, as well. So, anyway.
All right.
Find your place, take a stand, make your way, be a man. Win the fight, see it right, if you can. You must be bold, but don't be cold, and don't just do the things you're told. Break the mold, but save your soul, if you can. Where do you belong? Where do you belong? Where do you belong? Where do you belong? Now look around, but make a choice. Make a sound, raise your voice. Don't use force, but stay the course if you can. Now you will fall, you will lose. Hit the wall, be confused, but through it all, keep yourself if you can. Now where do you belong? Where do you belong? Where do you belong? Where do you belong? Leave your words to the truth. Take what you've heard not as proof. Find out for yourself if you can. Follow your heart, come what may. Be steadfast in this way. His guidance never compromise if you can. Now where do you belong? Where do you belong? Where do you belong? Where do you belong? Find the truth deep inside of you. Peace will then reign if you do. Wake from the dream or believe in everything. Return to love where you.
Holy shit.
Today's episode is brought to you by Angie. Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs and projects done well. Let me tell you, there's the version of it where you try to do something at home, and then there's a version of it where you have someone help you, you watch them do it the right way, and you go, thank God I didn't try to do that myself. I have fully done things around the home that I think look good, and then a bang in the night, and I wake up to a shelf collapsing, a painting falling off the wall. I've seen it all go south. I own a home, and I can tell you, I know how much work it can take. Whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality, it can be hard just to know where to start. But now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Whatever your home project, big or small, indoor or outdoor, you can Angie that and connect with skilled professionals to get the project done well. Right now, one of my wish lists is I want a bike for my condo in Milwaukee, and I would love to rig it up on a pulley in the ceiling because I have one of those like lofted ceilings, but I'm so scared to try that on my own. Angie has 20 years of home experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
And that's not the song that won you the gig at the Kennedy Center?
Yeah, that was one of them.
Oh, it was? Okay. I was going to say, that, dude.
You've got a great voice.
Why does that song make me want to cry every time I hear it?
It's very ethereal.
Because I don't know where I belong, I guess.
Very ethereal.
But you, my friend, belong on the stage at the Grammys.
So I have a question for you. What if you couldn't sing? You have a great voice. What if you could only do the guitar and then write the words?
I don't know. I might be doing that.
Would you still be inspired, do you think?
It's a good question.
Have old Jack King singing your lyrics?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You're
because you're lucky to have that.
No, it's a good question. But sort of what you're alluding to or talking about is whether or not the outside would be, would matter, in pulling me into the writing. You say, well, I have no idea about that, but I could say that it comes from the heart, and so that doesn't really. I don't know if I couldn't sing, I don't know what would happen, but I can say that it doesn't. I'm not writing. I'm writing from the heart, and so I think that's. I've never really been attracted, or I've never liked people who can sing really, really super well. Mm-hmm. I kind of like people who can sing something to me that. It makes me forget them. I can't see them anymore, and I can experience what they're saying.
Yeah,
and that doesn't. For me, it doesn't. I used to play with a person who could sing really, really super well, and I'd always, my advice to him would be in the studio, and I always say, "Man, stop singing." You know what I mean? Stop singing. It's like, well, okay, hold on, wait a minute. Do you know what this song is?
Yeah.
Do you know what the song is? And okay, well, if you know what the lyrics are saying, then think about a similar experience you may have had, because we're all human. Their common experience is usually there's some sort of underlying theme, maybe it's yearning. Then go into that and sing from there, man. You know what I mean? So that I can experience what the hell you're saying, instead of me saying, wow, you can sing really well. You know
it's
what
like
I mean?
being taken out of a movie because someone's acting is, you go, wow, that acting is really good. I mean, you're missing what they're doing. Or if it's Dustin Hoffman, and the whole time you're going, wow, that's Dustin Hoffman. You know, it takes you out of it.
Yeah. You're distracted. It's like the finger pointing at the moon. You know, whereas we get distracted by who's pointing at the moon when they're pointing at the moon, man. It's about the moon. It's about the truth. It's about your own experience and what it, you know, like the girl that comes up, you know, at the pizza joint, you know, and she's crying. She's like, man, thanks, man. I appreciate it. So I don't think there's any other reason. There's no other reason. I don't even know if there's it's something I can't help. You know, it's like a problem I got. So.
So I guess what you're saying is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't hear yourself singing the song while you're writing. You're writing it just to be.
That's a really good point.
I guess
it's a really good point. And the thing is that if you do that, then you better be prepared to experience whatever you're going to sing. It's like when I went down to the Southwest. Right on. You know, I got this Southwest. You know, they wanted me to come down and play down there. You know, they gave me this artist showcase. And that was cool, but when I was entering it, you know, I had this other song I was going to, you know, enter because it was nice and safe. And, you know, and my wife's like, no, you got to enter this song, you know. And I'm like, oh, man, I don't want to enter that shit. You know what I mean? But I figured it was a long shot. Anyway, so I entered, and they wanted me to come down there. And I was like, oh, hell, that song. So what I did was I rehearsed it over and over again to try to wring out some of the weight. Yeah. You know what I mean? But when you get inside the song, you disappear. You end up disappearing, and you know, because you're singing this stuff, and you know, it's like it means something. It comes from somewhere, and you tap back into that, and so
that's cool.
How do you categorize your music anyway? I keep just saying he's a male singer-songwriter.
That's good enough.
That's good enough. Okay, fair enough.
I mean,
you don't like. Male. I already figured out you don't like.
Don't
labels,
overthink it.
But you couldn't call it heavy metal, so it's, you know, there is a label that fits it somewhere. But
I mean, I was down there at the folk at Kerrville. You know, was at the folk festival down there, and it was wonderful being down there. And so I felt like, okay, this is folk, because I kind of did the same thing you do. It's like people ask me, well, what genre is that? I'm like, man, I don't know.
That's good.
So I guess it's folk.
If it's too easy categorized, then
Americana,
I think it's
whatever
not as interesting.
Works.
Way more interesting to be thinking about what in the hell is this when you're listening to it.
Yeah. You usually want to put it in a box, but the thing is, Americana has a nice blanket, so you can do a whole lot of stuff.
That's what I was going to say. I kind of hear the Americana deal more than anything. Yeah.
Well, you want to do another one? We're going to do one with you at the end, which and we will ruin it.
Oh, you will kill it.
But thank you for letting us do that, because it's a real privilege to have you here, man.
I really appreciate you.
Don't say that.
I risk my life to be here.
You can, if you want to talk about religion versus spirituality, you could do When I Die. If you want to do something up tempo.
Oh, you want me to do something up tempo?
You could do When You Go if you do that one by yourself. I've never heard you do it without the band, so.
All right,
you can do whatever you want, though.
I'll do this song. Now, this is a new song, and this is a funny song, and we were talking about it downstairs. Now, I'm not prepared to do this song, so I'm glad I'm doing it.
Okay.
It's like everybody can. But, you know, I am a Southern boy, and so I grew up in the Bible Belt, and so like any other Southern kid, I was, you know, filtered through Bible studies and things like that. And so, you know, my mom she'd always tell me, she said, as a kid, you were really, you know, for some reason, you were aware of, you know, I don't know, I guess you'd call it God or whatever. But I had some kind of, I knew or was aware of this presence or this stillness.
The still, quiet voice of Ezekiel.
Something here, some intelligence that's beyond us. Mm-hmm. It's obvious, man. Come on, right? Mm-hmm. But my problem is that I was aware of the nature of it, and it wasn't matching up with what the hell they were telling me it was. See what I mean? And so I was always a kid in the back going, raising my hand, and like, oh, Dave.
Am I going to hell?
I'd be like, don't you think that's kind of harsh? And so this song sort of brings up in sort of a humoristic way about heaven and hell and, those ideas, man. Now, I'm not trying to say that people's beliefs and what they're believing is not okay. It is okay. But in actuality, you've really, really got to look at it and go, I don't know if we really, truly know. How do you know unless you have an experience of it,
Right.
That's sort of... So I just kind of used it as a fun way to talk about this kind of thing,
All right.
Cool.
So this is called When I Die. Where will I go when I die? Where will I go when I'm dead? Will it matter if I try? Will it matter what I said? And what will old St. Peter say when I get to the pearly gates? Will he shake my hand and say, son, you made the grade? And I'd see all those friends of mine who passed away before their time. And we will raise a glass to our worldly past and get lit on God's dime. When I die, man, when I die, or will it go the other way? Will the devil make me pay for the choices that I made and all my bad mistakes? And will he say with a forked tongue, all your sins when you were young brought down your numbers, son, and here your soul remains? And I'd see all my enemies, the ones I hated thoroughly, and I would spend my days in a fiery blaze for the rest of eternity. When I die, man, when I die, now when my number's finally called, I don't know where I'll go. And even though they tell us all, they don't really know if it's down or if it's up, or is it all just made up? 'Cause no one knows, and so the question goes, where will I go when I die? Where will I go when I'm dead? Will it matter if I try? Will it matter what I said? Will my soul just drift away somewhere in outer space? Will I pass the Milky Way when I leave this here place? And I'll be one with everything. I'll be the birds and the songs they sing. And I will finally rest, because there was no test. Yeah, what will happen is my guess. When, no telling when I die, man, when I die.
That was a good one.
That's good stuff, man.
You
I
know,
like that one.
I think the whole question of existence and the meaning of life, there's a lot of that in folk music. You know, Iris DeMent wrote that song, Let the Mystery Be.
Yeah.
You know that song, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, sure.
And she's, everybody's wondering what and where they all came from. They're wondering where they're going to go when the whole thing's done. And she just says, well, I'll just let the mystery be.
That's exactly, yeah.
How can you know?
Exactly.
That's the only rational. Well, anyway. I'll get in trouble for that.
Yeah, you gotta. But you also gotta respect where people are.
I do.
What you know, it's fine. We're all doing the best we can, and we're all,
Because I've been there. I've been as certain as I can possibly be, and I've been as uncertain as I can possibly be at different times in my life.
That right there, that certainty. That's at that intellectual. You know what I mean? This is it, and that's and then next thing you know, it's
You have to embrace the changes, because it's a moving target all the time.
Yeah,
it really is.
That's it.
The funny thing is, the older we get, the more that shit tends to move.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
There was a quote in the movie Bull Durham that said that the world is not made for those of us who are cursed with self-awareness, which I think is really apropos as we
That's an amazing
age, if you think about it.
Incredible how apropos that is to me. Mm-hmm. And it's all about me.
And in the older we get too. And but the thing I'm really enjoying is having someone in here that is able to articulate these songs, because we think about great songwriters like John Prine and Steve Earle, people that write powerful things. And these songs are really, really wonderful, Dave, man. We're glad you're here.
Yeah, it's a real privilege to have you here, man.
Thank you.
Let's do you want to do one more before we do Comfort Town, or are you ready to get out
Comfort
of here?
Town. No.
You ready to do it?
But can we talk a little bit about Comfort Town?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And let's plug you got a website too, right? We need to plug some stuff.
Yeah. Plug some stuff. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
It's Dave Cecil. DaveRayCecil.com.
It's actually DaveRayCecil.com.
Yeah.
So DaveRay Cecil.com. Yeah. And I'm assuming you have tour dates and all that kind of stuff on there, and people can book you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And where can they get the CD? The CD's
pretty much everywhere, but as far as like Spotify, it's like all that. But if you want a hard copy, then you got to get in touch with me.
Okay, so they buy that there. I found you on Spotify. You're also on YouTube, which I was amazed you can just play these songs for free on YouTube.
I know, that's a whole other thing.
I know. I don't know. You can't make any money that way. But I guess people don't make a living so much off of selling songs anymore. It's all about you give the songs away, and then people pay to come see you do it live.
Touring, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Shows.
You guess. Hell, you don't know.
I've got. You know what I'll be doing?
Welcome to the Steve Show.
After this show, okay, I'll probably get in my car and I'll be writing these songs.
Yeah,
again. I got this nice little song that I've been working on, and
cool.
And I'm recording a record at the moment, but things have.
You recording it with the band, or is it solo?
No. No. This is kind of me, but I'm going to allow whatever I hear in the songs to sort of happen. You know what I mean? So maybe some piano, maybe some mandolin. I've heard some mandolin stuff.
Ooh, how about synthesizers?
That last song actually. I went over there to Wiley's studio, and he sat down on the kit and started playing. I was like, man, don't you have something a little bit more strange, man,
Yeah.
And having a big bass, and so he went and got this thing off the shelf. It's a marching band bass drum, they bought for $5 at a yard sale. He put that thing down there and then put a tambourine on a hi-hat.
Oh, wow.
And played some coconuts.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, that's more like it,
Wow.
So that's sort of what I'd like to move into, more of a raw, organic kind of.
Yeah. When will we be able to hear this?
I have no idea. It's sort of at a halt at this point because I need some cash.
Okay.
Well, you're getting ready to get unpolished here in about 30 seconds. I'm getting.
Yeah, this will be real unpolished.
Yeah, and if you want some help doing some weird, funky stuff, feel free to have us come over. We're not too far away. I can make it sound as unpolished as you can imagine.
All right. So what do you want to do?
Anyway. So
you want to talk about Comfort Town?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
When you start doing, not when you start, but when you do lots of meditation, man, you start to become really strange to other people. Because what ends up taking the place of all the, earnest seeking and the acquiring and the, movement to have and the, trying to get, what takes the place of all that is large amounts of not really caring anymore, or seemingly not caring. And
Seeing the absurdity.
Well, I say seemingly because I think a small part of you still does, but most of you doesn't. And so for me, that's miraculous.
Sure.
That's miraculous. So you're saying that if you sit in silence, then stuff's going to start changing. That's so to me that makes me want.
It does sound insane, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
So that to me makes me want to go do it. It's like, okay, well, let me go look. So anyway, the song "Comfort Town," in relevance to that, is talking about, so it's not really a surprise that this is a medical show because, the first thing a doctor tells you to do when you get sick is to take some rest. And when you take some rest, then the body rests and then it moves towards healing. That's just what it does. So when you sit in silence, the body is at rest, so it obviously moves towards emotional healing. That's what it sort of does. What goes in comes back out. Your nervous system unwinds and it comes back through, right? So it's kind of like in Comfort Town obviously is about getting out of your comfort zone. But when we say that, we're conditioned to think that it's just our surroundings. You just change your surroundings, go do something you had never done before. Okay, and that may be a comfort zone, but what Comfort Town is talking about is that the comfort is within you. Everything that you're believing, all of your belief systems, it is projecting the reality that your body mind is experiencing and it's making you feel safe. And safe is a part of a comfort zone. So what Comfort Town is saying is that maybe there's something more. In the song I mentioned the merry-go-round.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, in different religions, the merry-go-round is called different things. So in Buddhism, it's called the wheel of samsara.
Right.
And the coming and going.
Sure.
Like the McRib. I'm kidding.
Give yourself a bill.
Yeah. They're always bringing it back. You know what I mean?
That's right. It is like the wheel of samsara. The McRib is a metaphor
for herpes.
For reality.
It's herpes. It's herpes.
Oh, don't say it's
so anyway,
herpes.
I probably screwed that all up, but
no,
I think that anyway.
Perfect.
So anyway, the merry-go-round is like for some reason we're all fooled to really think that the coming and going is what we are, and we're only that. I don't know if you've seen the Om symbol, but the Om symbol is waking, sleeping, dreaming, the three states of consciousness, and then the veil, and then behind the veil is the eye of awareness, and then as you sit in silence, the veil starts to dissolve, unravel. Unravel is a good word. Then you become aware. But so the cool thing is that Comfort Town also in the beginning, and I do want to say this because this is important. It says in the beginning, "Who am I to say you should leave the world of stone and wood?" And stone and wood is the world of certainty.
Right.
What you know so far. And who am I to say, man, you should leave everything? I'm
Right.
not saying that. You're okay, everything's cool. But maybe, just maybe, there's something more. And I think most of us don't even realize that there's something other than our reality, I remember I had this guy call me and I was watching something. It was like a salesperson. He calls me up. And actually, he's a coach. He's a coach, a life coach, Now, first thing he's got to do is he's got to sell me his world.
Right.
He has to sell me the world that he believes in so that he can, get my business. Okay, and after a while, he's selling me. I said, look, man, I don't live in that world, dude. I'm not afraid. And so that really struck him. And when we hung up the phone, I knew I'd hear from him again. He texted me the next day and asked me to coffee. Okay, so I went and had coffee with him. Yeah, dude, I'll meet anybody for coffee, man. So I'm sitting there and I started talking to him. And I was like, so what is it? What is your purpose? And so he knew what his purpose was. And hey, man, when somebody achieves what they want, I feel like I've achieved my purpose. And I'm like, that's great. That sounds great. And then what happens? He said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, what happens to that feeling that you just achieved? He said, well, I guess I've got to do it again. I'm like, and again. And
there
again,
you go.
And
It's
again.
real.
And I said, so are you okay with that? Are you okay with being addicted to an experience that you're recreating constantly? And he said this, and it was beautiful. And I actually thanked him for his honesty. He said, well, yeah. And that's my point, is that we don't necessarily know, or we're not really aware that there's something beyond our reality. You don't know, man. And he was innocent in saying that. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that the only way to move beyond those kinds of things is to have a burning question. That's the only way that you can, I mean, for me, it was just, I just heard there was something else, and then that was all she wrote. I had to go look,
Yeah. A lot of people don't want to be challenged in their
that's
comfort
true.
zone.
That's true. And that's
they get
cool.
mad.
But that's their life. Everybody's
Yeah.
choosing their own thing, and it's cool. That I'm not saying, that's why the song says, who am I to say you should do this?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
And the Buddhist approach to this is that what you're talking about, Dave, is that it's to embrace moving into a space where you're uncomfortable. Because once you've done that, you've realized it's really not that bad, and being able to embrace moving into that, and as you said, letting go of those attachments, because those attachments are what makes moving to an uncomfortable place so difficult. But I gotta say real quick about this song, I fucking love that story because I've been so focused on the rhythm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Hearing this makes it like a whole nother. I thought it was a great song until I heard this.
Yeah, we were focused on the mechanics of the song.
Well, I mean, you could say, well, it's just a cool, catchy song. That's
totally.
all.
That's cool, man. That's totally cool. Hey, and real quick, there's a bunch
If
of
people are
I didn't
interested in
spoil
learning-
it, did I? Did I spoil it now?
hell
That's
no,
all
no,
that
Are you insane? No. And people who are interested in more Eastern ways of thought, I can highly recommend going on YouTube and just listen to a few lectures by a guy named Alan Watts. And this is all the stuff that he talks about. And he's amazing. And just very plain, not preachy. Just and when you listen to him, you go, well, that guy's got to be right.
Well, it's matter of fact. All this shit is like matter of fact. It's not really.
That's right.
It's obvious. It's obvious. So it's like, why wouldn't you have a look like the girl who comes up to me and saying, I don't know who I am without these things.
Yeah.
Well, it's time. You got a life. Do it, man, before it's...
Well, that affected you, too. That's obvious,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to do Comfort Town, and then we'll say a couple of words. We'll do some plugs at the end, and then...
Cool.
All right?
All right, cool. Say you should leave the world of stone and wood, to quit the bad and leave the good. I'd take you there if I only could, to live alone is safe and sound. You know the sky, you know the ground. You never lost but never found. You spend your time always down, 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 down in Comfort Town. Maybe this is all for the call of something more. Maybe it ain't a stranger at my door. Maybe all the falls were just the calls to reach my core. And I will be the stranger at your door, at your door. Why do we spend our lives spinning wheels and wrong and right, snuggled in and sleeping tight, waiting in a line each night just to ride the merry-go-round? Down, down, down in Comfort Town. Maybe this is all for the call of something more. Maybe it's an angel at my door. And maybe all the falls were just the calls to reach my core. And someday I'll see angels at my door. At my door. At my door. At my door. At my door.
That was great.
Now, when I first met you, that was the first song of yours that really just kind of stood out to me. I remember I came up and talked to you about it. I was whistling to you, like, what was that song? And I'm trying to whistle. And to think that 2 years later I'd be sitting here playing it with you.
I mean, it's pretty awesome.
It was a real treat,
really,
man.
really
Thank you
appreciate
so
you having
much.
me, man.
Thanks for letting us tag along, man. That was fun. Hey, real quick, there's a couple questions. Are the CDs available on Amazon?
Or
Or they need to come direct to your website, maybe?
Yeah.
Go to DaveRayCecil.com.
Yeah, and my contact email is there. So
Okay,
you know,
Spotify.
Yeah.
Where else? YouTube.
You're on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. Just
Yeah.
search Dave Cecil Comfort Town. You can
Dave
hear.
Ray Cecil, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Man, thank you so much.
Thank you so
dude.
much
Thanks,
for being
guys,
here,
so
man.
much for having me. I really appreciate it.
We're just
That was great.
Awesome, dude.
we're big fans, and it was just great having you in the studio. And if anyone's listening to this live, we're going to be at the beer run at 7:00 tonight. And try to get Dave out of here before the snow starts. So if you want to hear him live, come get a poster signed or just say hello. If you identify yourself as a Weird Medicine listener, Scott and I will buy you a beer.
Buy you a beer.
All right.
There you go.
Thanks again, Dave.
All right,
Thanks,
man.
Dave.